Chapter 3. A Ride and a Revelation. Ashley walked towards Mr. Eliot's car, her steps hesitant. The sleek black sedan seemed to loom larger as she approached, the polished surface reflecting the streetlights in distorted streaks. She reached for the passenger door handle, her fingers trembling slightly. As she bent to enter the car, the black sweater rode up her thighs, revealing a shocking expanse of bare skin. The movement accentuated the curve of her hips and the swell of her buttocks, the fabric clinging precariously to the edge of her cheeks. She had nothing to cover herself with, no skirt, no shorts, no barrier between her exposed legs and the cool leather seat. The act of sliding into the car caused the sweater to shift further. The low V-neck gaped open slightly, offering a tantalizing glimpse of the shadow between her breasts. The back of the sweater, already dangerously low, dipped even lower as she settled into the seat, threatening to reveal the full curve of her bottom. She tried to tug it down, but the fabric stubbornly refused to cooperate, clinging to her skin like a second layer. The angle of her body as she turned to face forward inadvertently exposed her even more to Mr. Eliot. The car's interior light illuminated her bare legs, highlighting their smooth, pale skin. The sweater, now bunched up around her hips, drew attention to the delicate line of her waist and the gentle curve of her stomach. Mr. Eliot, already seated in the driver's seat, couldn't help but notice the display. His eyes flickered over her, a mixture of curiosity and something else she couldn't quite place in his gaze. He started the engine, the low rumble filling the silence, as Ashley tried to subtly adjust the sweater, her cheeks burning with a mixture of embarrassment and a strange, unsettling thrill. "So," Mr. Eliot said, his voice smooth as he pulled away from the curb. "Where are we headed?" "James's apartment," Ashley replied, her voice barely a whisper. "On Elm Street." "Ah, Elm Street." He nodded, a knowing glint in his eyes. "Quite a drive." The car glided smoothly through the quiet streets, the hum of the engine a low, comforting drone. As they rounded a corner, Ashley's heart skipped a beat. The group of rowdy men from the building's entrance were stumbling down the sidewalk, their voices loud and boisterous. Ashley sank lower in her seat, a wave of relief washing over her. "See?" Mr. Eliot said, a hint of smugness in his voice. "Good thing you took my offer." Ashley offered a small, grateful smile. "Yes, thank you." The silence that followed was charged with unspoken tension. Mr. Eliot's gaze flickered towards her frequently, his eyes lingering on her exposed legs and the curve of her hip. The constant surreptitious glances sent a strange, unsettling heat through Ashley's body. The friction of the leather seat against her bare skin, the knowledge of Mr. Eliot's eyes on her, created a tingling sensation, a deep, restless ache that pulsed between her legs. She felt a strange, almost dizzying lightness, a sense of vulnerability that was both terrifying and exhilarating. "It gets lonely," Mr. Eliot said, his voice soft, almost melancholic. "Living alone, I mean. My wife passed away 10 years ago, never remarried." Ashley's heart softened. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice filled with genuine sympathy. "That must be difficult." "It is," he sighed, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. "Sometimes I just miss having someone to talk to, someone to share things with." A strange sense of connection bloomed within Ashley. She understood the feeling of loneliness, the longing for companionship. She found herself drawn to his vulnerability, a flicker of empathy warming her heart. Have you met anyone since then?" Ashley asked, her voice hesitant, breaking the comfortable silence. "In the past 10 years, I mean? Any relationships?" "No," Mr. Eliot replied, his voice flat. "No one." A wave of curiosity washed over Ashley, a question forming on the tip of her tongue. She hesitated, unsure if she should cross the line of polite conversation. 10 years, she thought. Has he? The thought was too personal, too intimate. She bit her lip, battling the urge to ask. Finally, her curiosity won out. "I don't mean to pry," she began, her voice low. "But have you been intimate with anyone in that time?" A blush crept up Mr. Eliot's neck. He glanced at her, his eyes filled with a mixture of surprise and something akin to shame. "No," he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. "I haven't." He paused, then turned to her, his expression apologetic. "I'm sorry, Ashley," he said, his voice sincere. "I know I've been staring. I know it's made you uncomfortable. But you're such a fine young woman. I couldn't help myself." Ashley's breath caught in her throat. "Fine young woman?" she repeated, the phrase echoing in her mind. She was used to being called babe, sexy, or fox by her peers, terms that often felt condescending, a subtle form of objectification. But fine young woman felt different. It was respectful, flattering, almost old-fashioned. A warmth spread through her chest, a sense of validation she hadn't expected. The phrase felt like a compliment to her character, not just her appearance. It was a novel feeling, and one she found strangely appealing. "So," Ashley ventured, a playful lilt in her voice, "you're just satisfied with ogling young women?" Mr. Eliot chuckled, a hint of embarrassment in his tone. "It's not ideal," he admitted, "but sometimes a glimpse is all I allow myself." "Really?" Ashley pressed, her curiosity piqued. "Just looking?" Mr. Eliot's cheeks flushed crimson. He hesitated, then confessed, his voice barely a whisper. "There have been a few times when I've, relieved myself, thinking about you." He immediately recoiled, his expression contrite. "I'm so sorry, Ashley. I hope you don't think I'm a complete creep." Ashley's initial reaction was not disgust, but rather a strange, unsettling curiosity. The fact that he had pleasured himself thinking of her, a woman he barely knew, was both unnerving and oddly flattering. "When?" she asked, her voice low and curious. "When did that happen?" Mr. Eliot hesitated, then, to Ashley's surprise, began to describe the instances in detail. "There was the time you were wearing that blue sundress," he began, his voice soft, almost reverent. "The way it flowed around your legs as you walked, and your hair catching the sunlight like spun gold. And your smile, so bright it lit up the whole street." He continued, describing other encounters. The way she laughed with a friend in the lobby, the way she concentrated on her phone while waiting for the elevator, the way she held her head high while walking out of the building. He spoke of her expressions, her mannerisms, the subtle nuances of her personality. He mentioned her hair, her smile, the way she carried herself. To Ashley's astonishment, his descriptions focused far less on her body and far more on her overall presence, her essence. Ashley found herself pleasantly surprised. His words were not objectifying, but rather complimentary, highlighting aspects of herself she often overlooked. He saw her as a person, not just a body. A warmth spread through her chest, a sense of validation she hadn't expected.